So, in Britain, we call bullying character building. That's why we're all so charmingly damaged.
You got one part of that right. I believe it's damaged.
I'm charming, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe in the UK that's a thing, but not here.
Bullshit, you told me something very differently and you know it.
Let's just get into this. So welcome to Two Sides of the Pond, where this Yankee, Dwayne, here in the US, discusses and fights with a whole bunch of interesting... You're really pissing me off already. I can't believe it. Oh my God.
I haven't said anything.
Right. And Matthew, here in the UK...
Give me a chance to actually piss you off, for real.
Oh, God. I don't know what it is. You just you have this face today that just makes me want to jump through the screen and...
Is it quite smug?
Smack the crap out of you. But then again, that's flirting in Britain, not so much here in the US. Here in the US, we call that bullying. But being nice to you in the UK apparently is harassment and bullying on your end.
It is, yeah.
I'm going to tell you where this whole topic came up. And I sent you a video not too long ago about this kind of joke thing on TikTok about how an American got in trouble for bullying Brit on the street because he was nice and said hello to them. And that got me down a rabbit hole of how Brits see it kind of invasive and gets under your skin when someone's nice to you for no reason. Just, hello, how you doing?
Yeah, we find it quite weird. We find it bizarre.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know, because it just seems really ingenuine. Yeah, we find this when we go to America, and we find some Americans can be very chatty, very friendly, and we just find it so ingenuine. You know, it doesn't feel right or normal. It's strange. But we have the issue in this country as well. There is a divide. So if you're a northerner and you go down to London, northerners in the UK tend to be more chatty and whatnot and want to speak to you. You try and speak to a Londoner, they'll probably stab you. So, you know, we have got an interesting situation in the UK. But if you want to find people that are perhaps closer to what you're used to, then maybe a northerner is the person to speak to in the UK.
That's not you.
No, I'm a southerner. I'm a southwesterner.
When I brought that to you, you were like, yeah, you'll get shot. Don't do that when you're here.
Yes. Yeah. But then you took that quite seriously as well, which is quite funny.
Well, and you're not the only person to tell me that either.
Begging for my protection.
Yeah.
I was like, it'll be fine.
I did.
You're like, can you just look after me, please? I'm like, fine. Was that so hard?
Yeah,
it fucking was.
That's not the answer. That's not the answer I'm looking for. Yes, I asked you, you're going to keep me safe though, right? And you're like, you'll be fine. I go, that's not my question. My question was, will you protect me while I am there? Because Americans on vacation tend to be in a happier, better mood.
Yeah, so you won't be. This is you we're talking about. When are you ever fucking happy? You know why I would say a typical American. I think you'll actually blend in more with the Brits than you would with Americans. I think in a crowd of Americans, you'll stand like a sore thumb because you'll be the one with the sour face. Put you in a bunch of Londoners, you'd be just like, well, this person's a fucking Brit. You know what I mean? Until you speak.
I can't disagree with you on that because I mean I've had people
I have nothing but
contact me and say, you just have to smile more in your pictures. You don't smile at all. Like, I have resting bitch face, apparently, wherever I'm at.
See, you're already a Brit.
And people always ask me, what's wrong? What's going on? And, yeah. But you don't fit here either in that. So, I take it personally when you say certain things to me that I shouldn't. That's more of a term of endearment when it comes to you talking to me. And I'm going to say that's because you are in the UK. you've called me a lot of derogatory things where if somebody was just reading our text messages, they would really question our friendship. Like, are you guys really friends? Like, can you really trust? Does he really like you? Does he know your friends that you think he's your friend?
Has anyone actually said that to you? Or
yes,
is this what they have? They really?
They have, absolutely.
Who are you showing the conversations to?
It was a conversation that I had with somebody who is grown up in the United States, but is originally from the UK and has spent time in Ireland. And we had the C word conversation, which we will bring up in a whole different episode. But it was, if I had that conversation with him, his name is Paul. Paul would be like, didn't blink an eye. He was like, well, yeah, that's just how they are. But if I talk to somebody who is purebred American from the United States and they said, oh, yeah, well, they'd see me giggling at my phone or whatever, smiling, getting a message from you. And what are you laughing at? And I would show them, and it would be like, you call me a twat or whatever. And they're like, you find that funny? And I'm like, you gotta know him. He's from the UK.
You've got to have the context behind it.
Yeah,
that's the thing,
I guess.
But yeah, it's funny. I just say stuff. I don't mean the majority of the shit I say, and the people that know me know that. You can't read too much into the things I say, because I will just pick a random word that is at the front of my mind and I'll throw it in there for shits and giggles.
Mm-hmm.
But you've picked up on this and you do it as well.
I do. And
you'll make the mistake of doing it to a Yank in a minute, and you're going to get yourself in trouble.
I have said things at work where some people look at me like, "Ooh, you can't say that." Like, or people would, my management team, I would say something in response to something another team member has said or another employee has said, and they would go, "Dwayne, you can't say that." Like, I was joking. What? Like, but yeah, no, absolutely. But I am somewhat afraid. Now, if I was to go into the shops over in the UK, like, we'll be in London for a few days, right? And we're in the shops. Are the shopkeepers and the salespeople nice, like pleasant, or is it just they're still very stoic and flatlined?
I think they're probably miserable. They're working in a shop. There's not much to live for, really. So yeah, I'd be surprised. You might find someone who's maybe having a really good day or new at the job and hasn't quite got depressed yet. But generally speaking, they work in a shop.
I would like to think if I was in a high-end store that they would be more pleasant.
Oh, maybe in the high-end ones,
a
perhaps,
mom and
but
pop.
To be fair, I don't think you get paid that much better being in a high-end store. If anything at all, I feel like you'd be paid the exact same amount. You just work for a high-end store.
Mm.
I could be wrong. I don't know. I've never done that sort of drivel before in my life. So,
well, I've worked in retail for several years. I've managed in retail shops before, and when I tried to push into the luxury high end, like a Louis Vuitton type store, they check your credit history.
To see if you can afford the shit you're trying to sell. Fuck that. If you can afford it, you ain't gonna be working there.
But if you have, I would think that their thought process is if you have so much debt and you don't know how to manage your money, that you'd be more tempted to steal and sell off their items. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I don't know.
Easy money, right?
But I've been in the shops here, the higher end, the Louis Vuitton, the Hermes stores, where they are so stick up your ass. They judge you from the second you step into the store, they judge you like you wouldn't believe. And that depends on how your interaction's going to go.
So I've often thought that I'd love to go buy something expensive, but dressed like a homeless person stinking of piss and pay with cash. It'd be hilarious. I'd love it as a social experiment. Just walk in somewhere looking like I've just shat myself. You know.
That happened to Oprah Winfrey once.
Really?
She wanted to buy a high-end bag. And it was one of those shops where you had to ring the bell for them to let you in. Because apparently that's a thing overseas. Like if it's a really high-end shop that not just anybody could walk in, you have to be rung in and be escorted through the store with your own shopper. And they wouldn't open the door for Oprah Winfrey. She said she wasn't wearing her Oprah makeup. And Oprah looks very different without makeup. She's got pigmentation issues on one side of her cheek.
I'm glad I didn't make a joke I was thinking of making. Oh, fucking hell. I was about to make a joke, but I bit my tongue.
Oprah will have you killed. Oprah will have you killed. So her niece wanted to this particular bag, and she went there and they would not let her in. And it was a big mistake. She had to drop her name to have the manager come out and let her in, because the person who worked there saw her as a homeless African American that couldn't afford what's in there. Meanwhile, she could buy that store, but all the contents in the store could be hers with the snap of a finger. But because of her appearance, they wouldn't let her in, and it made world headlines at the time.
If I was that wealthy and that happened to me, I'd buy the store and then fire everybody for making my life difficult. Fuck them. They can go work at McDonald's. Because
they wouldn't even be able to work in McDonald's at that point.
No.
Oh my God. But do you find it off-putting if somebody came up to you and just in your neck of the woods, like not when you're traveling to the US, but would you find it very off-putting, or do people just not even bother being nice to you?
Yeah, people don't bother.
I find it very
weird. Because I don't speak to anyone. I don't walk around sort of speaking to anyone. I might smile if I hold the door open for somebody, but you know, there are polite things that you do, but you don't engage in conversation. You don't hold the door up and go, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Let me fucking whack you off." That doesn't happen in this country. You know, it's just, there you go. Oh, fucking, now you do the same for the person behind you, and you just crack on with your day. So yeah, it's very different. Yeah, just go keep yourself to yourself. Just get on with it. You know, I mean, you'll see it when you go on the underground. You'll see it. It's just packed with just miserable people having to go to work or fucking go back home or whatever they're doing. People don't want to speak. They just want to be left alone. They want to read their audiobook because that's a thing, apparently. You know, but yeah. Damn. It's very different. It's very different here. You're distracted. What are you doing?
I'm looking up the Oprah story.
Oh, well, you just told me. I don't need a fucking second take of it. You think you missed that? She turned
it into a racist thing. So
it's her fault for changing fucking race, apparently.
Supposedly so. I have no idea. I mean, I have been in places where I have felt unwelcomed. And I am then at a crossroad. Do I say, fuck you, and buy the most expensive thing in the store? Or do I just walk out and be like, not worth my time? But in a way, that makes me think that they've won. That they knew I couldn't afford. Or that their thoughts were true.
Maybe that's a strategy.
That I couldn't afford that.
Is make you feel like you don't belong here. So you either want to spite them and buy anyway, or you prove them right. And they just cut to the chase. Maybe that is a selling strategy. Could be.
Maybe. I mean, I've also been in stores where they've done the whole, do you want a glass of champagne while you're trying on shoes situation. Okay. So
it's just fall over whilst you're trying to try on shoes because you're drunk on champagne. Why not? Bit weird. Bit strange. But yeah.
Well, yeah. It gets you to loosen up.
Yeah, I suppose
including your wallet.
Yeah, you might make a mistake, and yeah, it's true. So I have a story where I was saying something derogatory that was funny to a friend. You know,
Yeah.
nothing too bad, nothing too serious. I won't repeat it because it's probably not safe. But you know, it was something funny. But it's just amongst friends.
It was a typical Matthew thing.
It was, yes. It didn't mean anything. It was just banter between friends, and it was all good. And yeah, but this chap, being a little bit younger than me, didn't quite learn how to apply a filter to their own use of language, and didn't quite understand the audience, the correct audience where you can say a sort of thing, and the wrong audience, and it might be similar with you, where you might be sort of picking up on some of my habits and the things that I say, and then you forget the people you're around, like a bunch of Americans, and you say it, and they shit themselves as if you just shat in their cornflakes for their morning breakfast. So you got to be careful. But this particular individual got moaned at by his dad, and he just turns around and calls his dad this derogatory term. I pissed myself laughing. I could not contain my laughter. It was so funny. His dad was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, he just went from being so comfortable saying this stuff because I was, that he forgot who he was speaking to.
You
and
were
said it to his dad.
Bad influence.
And I love it. I love it. It's so funny. I am a bad influence. I'm not a good influence.
Okay, so do you have that kind of relationship with your parents?
Or
is there still that line?
There are some lines, I guess, but it's fairly relaxed. Yeah. Yeah, me and my mum have very similar sense of humours, and we both have dark humour. So we can laugh about dark things and both enjoy it. Yes, I do quite like dark humour, and that's where a lot of it comes from. It is dark humour. And a lot of people don't understand dark humour, but it's just fucking funny.
I mean, I might have told you or said on the podcast before, like when I was in my early 20s or so going out clubbing, I would be up pretty damn late at night. I wasn't taking care of myself. Like 20-year-olds do, where you have 2 hours of sleep. You go to the club 3 or 4 times a week. You still have a job. So when my voice was shot to shit, and my mother would say to me, "It sounds like you have a cold. What's going on? What's wrong with your voice?" And I would tell her, "It must be from all the cocaine I did last night." Knowing damn well that I have never touched an illegal street drug in my life. And I am so adamant against those things, personally, that my mother knew this, but she still didn't find it funny that I said that.
Oh, dear. Whoops.
Yeah. Kind of like my father and I never really had a great relationship. And it was always blamed on communication problems. So one year I got him a Father's Day card in Spanish.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Shut up, bitch.
Neither did my family.
Ah!
All right. So on Father's Day, I gave him a card in Spanish. And it said in English on the back what it said. But the irony was the card itself said something along the lines of, "I know we don't always see eye to eye on the same page," or whatever, and that we always have communication problems, but you'll always be my dad, blah, blah, blah. And
is that
the humor part, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So the irony was my father couldn't read the card because it was in Spanish, and nobody in my household, including myself, speaks Spanish. That's where my humor was, and it caused World War 25 in my house growing up because of that, because I thought that was funny.
So how did you understand what it said?
It says it in English in small print on the back.
Okay. I see.
Yes.
I see. Oh, dear.
And I would say and do things, that's a part of my humor. Putting people down, talking shit about myself, self-deprecating humor is a big part of me and my personality, which, yeah, maybe that would make me more of I'll get along better in the UK. I mean, where I grew up was right next to a town that you didn't look people in the eye. If people were arguing or having some kind of a domestic dispute or loud conversation, fighting, whatever, you didn't insert yourself. You didn't even look in their direction. I would be the one with the earphones in, the baseball cap, and the sunglasses, my head down, going where I need to go, because that was the neighborhood I was in. And then when you go into New York City, same thing, because you didn't want to get taken advantage of either. Because if you were seen as approachable, then you're opening yourself up to getting scammed, especially in a big place like New York City and Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot going to different places in Mexico and Cancun and
That's Mexico, but never mind.
Nassau. Yeah.
Nassau.
Nassau is horrible for that.
Was that Bahamas?
Yes.
Yep.
So if you go there, people on the cruise ship will tell you, whatever you do, keep your hands in your pocket, keep your wallet in your front pocket, and just don't engage with anybody, because if you walk by, they will be super nice to you. Next thing you know, they have a bracelet on your wrist and saying you have to buy it and charge you an astronomical amount to purchase it, because you will get scammed. You hear about this in front of the Eiffel Tower all the time. There have been reports where people take advantage of Americans because they're on vacation and they're happy and they don't know. Exactly.
This is why
friendly.
It pays.
So when they find someone friendly, yeah,
it pays to look miserable. It pays to look like you're about to commit a serial killing, because people will fucking steer clear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the distance between you and these scammers, it's like the Red Sea. You know, it's like the coming of fucking Moses. People won't go near you, and that's good. That's what I want. You know, I used to do this. So I used to walk back from town, from the city centre, during my college years, late at night, and quite often this was alone. So when you're in groups of people, it feels a lot safer and whatnot. When you're on your own, you have no idea what drunken hooligans might do. So I always made sure I looked like I was angry as fuck. Walking fast, look angry. You know, look like if you start on me, I'm going to knock you the shit out. You know, and no one ever bothered to come near me or speak or try anything, because I looked in a foul fucking mood. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a face I put on. Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
You know, I'll snap
Absolutely.
your dick off.
This is what ruined my enjoyment of walking through the malls.
What? Did your dick get snapped off?
Growing up in New Jersey, up north, it was, you go to diners, 24-hour diners, or you would hang out at the mall. That's what we did as teenagers. But as time went on, more and more things started happening in the mall, like kiosks would pop up in the middle of the floor of the mall. And as you're walking by, people, and they're usually people from other countries that look ridiculously model-esque, handsome, or beautiful, like the girls wearing the low-cut, very short, tight, form-fitting black cocktail dresses, will go up to you and go, "Oh, can I ask you a question? Oh, come here, let me look at your hands," and grab your hands, because they're trying to sell you something. And that happens all the time here, and I just stopped going to the malls now because of it. It used to only happen during the holidays, because they would pop up to sell things just during that like quarter of the year. And then they would just disappear for the rest of the year. Now they're there all the time. And if you don't pretend like you don't speak English, if you don't pretend that you're here, you know, like if you're hard of hearing or have headphones in, like you can't make eye contact, you just have to go, which totally ruins the window shopping aspect of going to the mall for me. So I guess now I prefer walking around streets that like Broadway in New York City, where you can actually window shop, like 6th Avenue. where those things aren't out there. But even they're there now. Like, they are standing there and they have their tables on the side of the street, trying to sell things like scarves and hats and the fake I Love New York t-shirts. Like, so where is it safe anymore? Is it safe anymore to just go about your business and just not have to put on a show that you're a miserable bastard?
It's the problem, I think, with tourist places. Also, you can be more chill in your hometown if it's not a tourist hotspot. You're generally okay. Like where I'm from, it's not a tourist area. So you don't really have that. You had some people protesting about equal rights or oil or some shit, but they can just fucking choke on the emissions. No one gives a shit.
So your town center, I know there's a cathedral and some shops I want to check out.
Mm-hmm.
Is that considered touristy, or is that just?
I wouldn't say it's all that. I mean, the cathedral, yeah, you do get people coming to see it, but it's not like London where it's heaving with tourists. Where I'm from just isn't. It's a lot quieter. A lot quieter. It might surprise you as well, actually, how quiet it is compared to what you're used to with where you're from, because you're right in the heart of tourist central, where you're just forever around foreigners coming to do this, that, and the other. Whereas where I'm from, it's not. It's the local.
It's funny. My day job is I'm paid to be nice and informative. The irony of all of that.
I know.
Because that is the last thing I feel like I want to be the second I clock out. I am not that person. Which is why I think I like camaraderie and companionship. I am more of a one-on-one person than I am with a room full of people.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoy. Right. I thoroughly enjoy our one-on-one time, or my one-on-one time with my friend Peyton, or James, or Ross. Like, I would rather have that. What?
Is that what you say when people would look at the messages and they see me absolutely harassing the shit out of you? You just turn around and say, I enjoy my one-on-one time. It's nice.
At least he's paying attention to me. He's bothering to respond to me, so that's good enough. I'll just roll over and let him rub my stomach and we're good. Like a cat. Can't be bothered with anyone else.
Oh, dear.
But when I'm but I can never have you, James, Peyton, like, all in a room together and just go out and hang out somewhere. That would be a nightmare.
I would probably offend all of them.
Well, and here's the thing with my friends, and they all make fun of me. It is so weird. You all have the same jokes, or like just the way you respond to me. You, Ross, my friend John, Jason at work, like Jordan, they all have the same responses to me. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from.
Who's the most brutal?
Why are people so mean to me?
Because
Who's the most brutal?
Yeah.
Because it's easy. See, we're going to circle back to that in a minute. Why is it so easy? But the most brutal, I would say, the most consistent and brutal would be Jason. I would say that. Because that's all he does when we're together. Like that, like, at no point there seems to be a break. Like, I was at a party with him a couple of nights ago, and he was talking about something, and he said, but gosh, what did he say? He said something along the lines of, but that's what they called Dwayne in high school. And it had something to do with me being easy, apparently. And those are the conversations that we have. We rarely have a conversation worth a damn. Really, there's no real information that other than apparently, thank God. I used to think that I have really low self-esteem. I would have slit my wrist by now if I took everything that my friends say to me to heart. There's no way. And why is it easy?
I don't know.
Why?
You open the door. Quite often you open the door. And when you have people that are witty, like myself, and I assume like your other friends, it clicks. There is an opening, and so we latch onto it. And I don't know how it works for others, but for me, a lot of it is improv. I don't think before I speak. I just speak. I just blurt shit out. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. Usually it's usually it is funny. It makes me laugh. It might make others
That's
cry.
all that matters.
But fuck them. Feed them rice. It's fine.
Have you ever made somebody cry?
Probably. Deserved, though, I
Probably.
expect. If I have, it is probably deserved. If I've gone in on someone to the point of actually making them upset, then there would be a reason for that.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have been joking with what I was saying. I would have been dead serious with.
Well, I mean,
something
if
with
you were joking around, like the banter that you have,
I don't think.
have you
so.
really hurt someone's feeling?
Maybe one person who didn't understand the endearment in what I was saying may have got a bit too sensitive and then just fucked off. Possibly. Don't know if they cried. They may have done. Couldn't give a shit either way, but whatever. I don't care. I don't care. Sue me. Fuck off. Whatever.
All right. Before we wrap this up, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Just
No.
because. Just because. So, if someone in your life just dropped you because they had decided, you know what, I'm done with the harassment, I'm done with the conversation, I'm done with the lack of, as an American, feel like the disrespect you're giving, because as an American, we could take that personally and just dropped you, would you rethink, or how would you feel about that?
I wouldn't rethink. No, so I'm going to take a phrase sentence out of Connor's book, our designer here within the company, of being unapologetically yourself. Always be who you want to be. Surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that have the same sense of humor, that enjoy the same interests, because chances are those people won't drop you. If someone's going to drop you over who you are, then they weren't worth having in your life anyway. There's no point.
Where I agree with that very much. I do agree with that. But there can be the one thing that someone is super sensitive about.
Fuck them.
And if you hit on that and they really decide to take a step back because, you know what, right now is not a good time because of what you said, that wouldn't affect you at all? Let's give you an example.
Yeah, that might help.
Yeah.
I've buckled my flag.
So we have that relationship. I am an American. And if you were to say to me something about, okay, say I have a really good friend who has a terminal illness. Pick the illness, because there are 2 or 3 right off the top of your head that you always make fun of.
AIDS.
Okay, so I have a friend. So someone I'm close to recently passed away from AIDS, or was just diagnosed with having full-blown AIDS, and you said something like, so let them get AIDS and die. About whatever.
About a different person, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you not think it would be insensitive of you after the fact if...
Would I have already known that a friend of yours had recently passed away with the AIDS? Or would I be unaware that you've been through that?
if you were aware, I don't. Would you have said that?
Probably not. This is the thing. If I was aware
Okay.
that you've been through that, I'm not a twat. I wouldn't generally jump on something which I know is a sensitive topic at that point in time. It's not to say I'd never make that joke in future, but
Right.
it's timing, right?
Yeah.
Because I am a very strong believer of, because the thing is, when I make these jokes and come out with these things, I'm not laughing at the people that have suffered from it. I'm taking the piss out of the illness, because the illness is a joke. Cancer is a really, really good example. It is a joke of an illness. It sucks ass and it affects so many lives. It's a fucking joke. And it deserves to have the piss taken out of the illness. Because the only thing you can do when you're tackling with that is try and find the funny side and try and laugh it off, because it will lift your spirits. It's all you can do. You have to find the funny in everything. Because there is. Everything in life, there is a funny side to it all. Somewhere. Might not be a small little thing, but there is a funny side somewhere. Latch onto that, joke, take the piss out of stuff, because it make you feel better. I had a colleague who was diagnosed with cancer, and he came into the office and specifically said that, don't treat me any different. Take the piss out of me, take the piss out of it. That's what I want. And so we all did. Every single day we took the piss out of him, took the piss out of the cancer that he had, and he beat it. He was in such high spirits. He managed to get out the other side of it. And I took that lesson years and years ago, is this is the right mindset to have. Find the funny. It's not taking the piss out of the person that suffered. It's taking the piss out of the thing they've had the battle with. Because these illnesses and stuff that affect our life, they are a joke. They're serious, but they're still a joke. And they don't deserve the attention.
I think you need to see if we could trademark Find the Funny. And that would be amazing merch for the people that get pissed off at what we say.
Find the funny, yeah.
I think that would be amazing.
Because that's the thing. There's no point getting sensitive, right? Sticks and stones. It comes back to that old adage. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but the shit that I say, it ain't going to hurt you. Nothing that I say is actually going to hurt you. I'm not going to come out with some sort of joke and you wake up tomorrow with leprosy. That ain't going to happen, right? You'll be fine. It is just words. And I'm just playing around with words and just having a giggle. And I do it around people that understand that. Obviously, now doing it on a podcast, some people might watch it and not like it. But again, fuck them. You don't like it and you're offended, you've got to check yourself. You have control of your own emotions. You don't have to be bothered by stuff. If you are, you only have yourself to blame. Right? Brush it off.
Yeah, I mean, since I've known you, I've had several medical scares that I have confided into you with. And they, in the grand scheme of things, they really aren't that big of a deal. They wound up being what could have been worse or not, and I will say, especially to the people who find you offensive, that you that you have been an amazing human being and friend in those times. And then 2 days later, you'll just throw it back in my face and after the fact, which is great.
Yeah. Because I'm there. Yeah. I am there. You're having a rough time. I'm there. I'll listen to you. I am there. But I'm going to make jokes and try and make you laugh. I'm not doing it to cause you shit. I'm doing it to try and put a smile on your face and make you giggle. Because that's all you got to do. Laugh. Whatever it is, laugh. Life is fun. Enjoy it. Stop stressing. Stop worrying about stuff that just doesn't matter. Just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Life's too short to be serious all the time.
Yes. So, on that very poignant note, I think you should wrap us up, Matthew, and let's go, because you've hit a chord in me. So wrap it up.
Okay, goodbye.